Everyone's talking about, these NHL finals have been as good as anything. They're the best NHL finals ever. You've been watching the NBA? The first 3 games of the NBA finals have been awesome, exciting, down to the wire, back and forth, comebacks. I'm a fan, clearly. My clients are fans as well. We're 2-1 so far with the first 3 games of the NBA finals, which is nothing new or different. I'm 65% in the NBA finals over the last 5 years, a winning season every year in the finals for my clients and I. So for what it's worth, let's break down what we can expect in Game 4. And I'm going to focus here more on the total than the side. The side play up and available right now for clients. Check it out, wt.buzz/TC, or just visit the website, WagerTalk.com. When it comes to the total, Game 3, really interesting because it was the slowest paced game of the 3. And yet it was the only one that went over the total. Why is that? Well, the pace in Game 3 was fast for 3 quarters. And boy, it slowed down in the 4th. And of course, the Knicks couldn't hit a shot in the 4th. That helped matters and made things interesting right to the final minute for total bettors in that contest. Even though after 3, it looked like, they were at 182 after 3, and all you needed was 216 to cash a winning bet. And it was still a sweat, which tells us how low scoring that 4th quarter was. And a lot of that had to do with the Knicks' offensive struggles. They couldn't hit shots in San Antonio up the defensive intensity. I will say this. If I'm playing an over in Game 4, I'm going to look for a first half over. Why? Because I expect to see that level of defensive intensity from both sides in the 4th quarter of this one. So the question is, do we want that first half over? And again, San Antonio really looked to push pace in Game 3. They needed to because they had to get the offense on track. And the Spurs are at their best when they're running and gunning. And their youth and their athleticism plays well when it comes to pushing tempo and pushing pace. And they're able to do that, where they're throwing lobs into Wemby. And I would anticipate that the Knicks are going to make a concerted effort to get back on defense in Game 4. And I'm confident, at least in this, when, a lot of San Antonio's transition opportunities were set up by Knicks turnovers. The post-game quotes for New York talked a lot about how those turnovers are something that they have to avoid next time out. Now, saying it and doing it are 2 different things. And obviously, when the Spurs are playing elite-level defense, like they have, and make no mistake about it, Spurs played good D in Game 1. They played good D in Game 2. The Knicks just hit shots down the stretch of those contests. They hit tough, contested shots. Jalen Brunson was hitting, and Landry Shamet was hitting, and Michael Bridges was hitting, and the role players played really well in the 2 games in San Antonio, and that didn't happen in Game 3 in New York. Now, some of that may have been the distraction of the president being there. Some of that may have been the distraction of it's the first home game at Madison Square Garden in the NBA Finals since the 90s. There was a lot of weight on the Knicks' shoulders in Game number 3. I would expect them to play a little bit looser in Game 4, and that's probably a good thing. They looked a little bit tight, and they came out, the one thing that they've talked about, they came out slow. They were down by doubles early on, and if you read the Knicks post-game quotes, one after the next, talked about that as a reason they lost. We came out slow. We didn't have the right attitude to open. That's what the problem was. So I wouldn't argue with anyone that's looking for Knicks first half, Knicks first quarter of Game number 4. I'm expecting a significant improvement. And, of course, the rest of the quotes coming out of the Knicks locker room were not just about how we started out lousy. It's, here's Karl Anthony Towns, quote, turn the ball over, didn't execute, didn't do what's got us 13 straight wins in a row. That's how you lose a game. We didn't do what we've been doing for 13. We decided to do something different, and it ain't going to work. Jalen Brunson, quote, I think we turned the ball over a lot, first and foremost. Also, we were fouling a lot, put them at the line about 30 times. We're pretty stagnant. That's definitely things we can learn from, especially with our approach when we start the game and the way we start the half. I don't think we did well. I don't think I did well either. Josh Hart didn't surprise us at all. They were down 2-0. You knew they were going to come out with a sense of urgency and a sense of desperation. We didn't match it. Landry Shamet, they were really physical early. They played really fast, got in the paint far too much for our liking. They were really aggressive. These are not quotes saying, boy, we can't match up with this team. They're not quotes saying we don't know what to do with this team. The quotes are saying We didn't play our game. We have a better game in us. Now, that said, the series price the whole way has been saying San Antonio is a better team. Even before game one, the series price was saying that after game one, where the price was being pick 'em, and after the Knicks had stole home court advantage. And even here with the Knicks up 2-1, minus 170. They're not, they're not $3 favorites in this spot, despite a 2-1 series lead and a chance to take a 3-1 lead. So the markets are saying that the Spurs are still very live in the series. They're saying they're very live in game two. Obviously, the point spread here, minus 1.5, minus 2. There are some 2.5s out there. But there's clear support among some sharp bettors for the San Antonio side. And obviously, they took some Spurs prior to game 3 as well. There was 4-1 plus $4 plus $4.50 on the money line for this series. So if I'm looking at the Knicks, I wouldn't argue with first quarter, first half. I do have a play for the game again at WT.buzz/TC to get my full game play for the clients. But Knicks first quarter, Knicks first half is the way I would look for this. When it comes to the total for this card, and it really is interesting to think about this total because game 3 was the slowest pace game of the series thus far. It was the first over, but all the quotes from the Knicks, we fouled too much, we turned the ball over too much, we got to get back in transition. Those are all under quotes for the New York Knickerbockers. And again, we think under quotes, over quotes, really? Yeah. So what do we expect in the finals? We expect teams, for finals in general, have gone under, for the last decade. If you've done nothing but bet unders in the NBA finals, you've cashed better, I think 67% of the time. I mean, under has been pretty significant. And it's not a short-term sample size either. So NBA finals have trended to the under, short and medium term. This year, we're obviously 2-1 to the under, and the one over cashed despite a fourth quarter that was played at under pace and was filled with both teams playing elite defense and not so much offense. We expect, as series progress, teams to have a better and increasingly good idea about how to shut down their opponent. That's the nature of the NBA playoffs. What works in game 1 and game 2, coaches make adjustments. And obviously we saw from both teams in game 5. It was the free throws. I was going to say game 5, game 3. That sent, it was the free throws more than any other factor that sent the game over the total. That's some better 3-point shooting than we'd seen in the first 2 games. It wasn't the pace. And it wasn't, they got open looks all night. Because they didn't. Neither team did. Clients and I cashed over in game 3. I ain't betting over in game 4. We expect the pace to slow, which it did. We expect the defensive intensity to ratchet up, which it has. And unless we see a foul fest here, unless we see a game where both teams are getting all kinds of points with the shot clock off and allowing, we talk about totals. I've said this on a bunch of videos, but it's pace, 3-point shooting, and free throw attempts. That's the 3 stats that correlate the most. But with totals, obviously pace is number 1, but free throw attempts is number 2. So if you get a foul fest, sometimes even when the pace is slow, like it was in game 3, you end up cashing over bets. I don't see that in game 4. I like under the total between the Spurs and the Knicks for this one. Thank you so much for watching WagerTalk TV, guys. Really, we appreciate the comments, the likes, and the follows. You guys have been great throughout the postseason. I genuinely thank you really, thank you for all the comments. It's really positive. The energy, it's been good. We appreciate it. So comment, like, follow, and check out the website, WagerTalk.com. Check out my homepage, WT.buzz/TC. Great offers right now. We got a football season offer up and available already. And it's a really good deal, by the way, for NFL and college combined. Promo code, just looking it up right now. Sorry. Promo code USA250. And this is good through July 4th. Take $250 off. NFL and college combo package. Get every play from week 1 of the preseason and the Hall of Fame game right through the Super Bowl national championship game. in both sports. Again, promo code USA250. The offer does expire at the end, on July 4th. So something you want to do, don't wait. Get on board. And, of course, you can take advantage of $5 Tuesday pricing at WagerTalk.com. You can take advantage of buy 3, get 3 free. Lots of good deals. Check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. We appreciate your support. Stay tuned right here on the channel for more quality video content. And thanks for watching Wager Talk TV. Cheers.